Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Rare. Back, we have a special guest tonight, the famous Raider Rock. How are you doing, sir?
Doing wonderful, Mr. Rare.
So,
And please, refrain from using that S word. I hate being called sir.
oh, my bad. I was raised, to be extremely...
I know you're just trying to show respect. I understand that. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
Alright, so I will call you Raider for the rest of the show. So, how has it been over there in North Carolina? I know the COVID-19 stuff going on right now has really put a halt to a lot of wrestling. I've seen some feds in the Carolinas running, out of, backyards and fields. What have you been up to lately, sir? I mean, Raider.
I've been just sticking to myself, relaxing at home, trying not to go crazy. I haven't worked any shows since about May, I think was the last one I worked, was outside. It was not a very good one. I wasn't very happy with the way things went, but then again, working a different group that you're not used to, and the environment is totally crazy.
So I've seen that you had a lot of experience with $5 wrestling. How was your relationship with them?
At times good, at times bad, including as a reference as to a bad thing. Anybody that watched the DVD of $5 Victory Road Trip from back in February that they put out, near the end of it, Jake referred to me as the dad that nobody wanted. So, I don't know if I'm on good terms or bad terms, but I know I'm on better terms with him than Dynamite is, but who cares?
You talking about Showtime Dynamite?
Yeah.
Now, see, I haven't heard him in a while. What happened with what was his situation there?
I've heard rumors. I do not know any facts, definitely one way or the other, as to all the reasoning why there's heat with him and Jake. But part of it is I heard at one of the shows, I'm not going to say which one, supposedly the $5 title mysteriously showed up in his bag, and he says, I didn't do it. I don't know how it got there.
Huh.
Nobody seems to know how it got there, but heard that rumor. Then at another show, not too long after that, he was booked and did not show up, and then a little bit after the show was supposed to start, he comes online saying, running his mouth, talking trash, and saying that he's retired again. He's retired more times than Ric Flair, Brett Favre, and I think the entire NFL combined.
People used to make fun of me all the time because, like, when I did backyard wrestling, I retired from backyard so many times, but I always came back. Because, a long time ago, I never thought I'd have a professional wrestling career. Like, I did backyard wrestling since, 2000, all the way to roughly 2007 is when I started training. But I retired so many times in the backyard. I would always make a joke about it when I would say, hey, I'm retiring again, guys.
I believe that if you say that you're going to retire, you should stay that way unless there's something that is a reasoning why you're getting to come back.
Yeah.
Like if you're retiring because of an injury and you don't think you're going to be able to ever wrestle again. Something kind of like with Edge in the WWE. That type of thing, I can respect the retirement, and then something happens and then you're physically able to compete again. Yeah, I'm okay with that, but not retiring every 5 minutes, so to speak.
Yeah. So you were on the show for IWA Deep South. It was called, well, first let's cover the Shoot Style Baby Tournament. You were actually in a boxing match with King Jeremy Snaker. Now, you and King Jeremy have a, storied past, correct?
We've been best of friends. We've been worst of enemies. From 1 minute to the next, I never know which side I am on with that guy. And boxing as a favor to him.
Yeah.
I didn't want to box. I didn't want to even do that, but he ended up buying the gear. He ended up paying for, helping with the pay for me for that show, and also gave me a ride to the show. So, of course, if somebody's going to go that far out of the way, you're going to try to accommodate what they want, even though it's not what you want.
Now, a lot of people wouldn't have even got in a boxing match, period. So, that's respect right there.
Well, I wasn't wanting to box at all. It's not my cup of tea. I didn't train up until, and even after that, my shoulder was not at 100%, so trying to go into an environment like that is something I would never recommend. But I did it anyway for respect and also to help out somebody I consider a friend.
I do like King Jeremy. We had him in the Angel of Death tournament. He was at the Softcore Cup 2 tournament, which, controversial tournament, both of them, for different reasons. So, I like King Jeremy. I think he would really be a star in Deep South if he just gets that push. But
honestly, I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be in the business. I've heard rumors that because of just recently, like a couple months ago, becoming a father, that he has announced that at the end of this year is going to be his final year in the business. Now, if he's going to keep his word, and that actually happens, or if he stays longer, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see with that. But I show him respect either way.
Yeah. Now, see, I can definitely understand with the kids, because that was one of my main reasons for me that I wanted to retire, was, I had my baby girls now. I got twins. They're about 3.5 right now, but I want to be able to, get out there and play with them and enjoy, their childhood and not be crippled. But, on that same show that we were just discussing, Lethal Leap Year and Shoot Style Baby Tournament, which is a double show on Smart Mark Video. You order one, you get both. We had a no-show that night, and it pulled me out of retirement and everybody knows that story. I've mentioned it a few times, but you were there. Me and you discussed, me and you talked a good bit at that show. I actually reffed your boxing match.
Well, I didn't get that part. You were mentioning about getting pulled out of retirement for that thing. Was the last thing I heard out of you.
Yeah, I got pulled out of retirement on that show with you, Shoot Style Baby Tournament. Ended up wrestling, hell, I wrestled somebody. This old Peter B. Beautiful.
Beautiful was your opponent in a very crazy and deathmatch style of that I've never seen before, and all that deathmatch I really fell in love with that day. I'd heard that, I'd never seen it live right there in front of me that close. Didn't know what to expect and fell in love with it.
Yeah, that show, if people have not picked it up, I completely recommend it because there was a lot of killer matches on that show. And, I don't regret coming back because when I retired, there was still people that I wanted to wrestle. And, with me getting pulled out of retirement, I get to wrestle a few more. I've put a few names on my list. Right now I've targeted Jerry Nelms, and he's going to be my next person that I've put on my list. I got to wrestle Cody McCauley. I knocked him off my list. Great young talent.
Yes, he is.
And
I just question his association in that 5-on-5 match from the second part of that DVD, that Shoot Style, and then it was the Lethal Leap Year. That 5-on-5 match was totally crazy on there.
Yeah, no, I can't remember. Was you in that one, or?
Technically, no.
Okay.
Technically, Raider Rock wasn't, but Nosferatu Harbinger was, and got to have a lot of fun in that match. Although I don't understand why they put all those people that really don't get along on one side for each side on that one, really, in my opinion. But it was a good match.
Like, that match, the match itself drew heat. Like you've seen it all over the MDK page. Just because of the random shit that was out there, and a lot of people, which the guy hasn't been back in the ring yet. There's a guy named Mikey. He pulled a blade out and stuck it in Little Donnie's forehead. That was a shoot. That wasn't even planned.
Well, hey, I'm all for that. Most of the time I don't get along with Little Donnie anyway, so anybody that wants to beat up Little Donnie is fine by me.
Yeah, like that match was dead. If you haven't watched that match, people, you need to go out and watch it. Like I said, Lethal Leap Year Shoot Style Baby Tournament is available on Smart Mark Video. But that match was definitely crazy. Obviously, it had fucking Boris Dookie in it, and it also had the American Giant. What's your feel on American Giant?
American Giant, it was good to work with him. I respect all that he does. The only thing I really don't like with American Giant is that he's not a fan of the hardcore and deathmatch styles.
Yeah.
But he's more of an old school traditional guy, and I can respect that. Anybody that's done what he's done in this business and hasn't needed to do that stuff, that's perfectly fine, and I'm okay with that.
See, I know a lot of people always ask me about why I got into deathmatch wrestling. And, it was never really about money or anything like that, honestly. Because when I first started wrestling, I was one of them $5, guys. You give me $5 and I was happy. I drove to Mississippi for $5. And, a good show for us, like for me and Phil Payne, would be driving back eating a premium McDonald's hamburger. That was a good payday for me back in the day. And when I got offered that,
I've been doing shows where a long time ago when I first started, there were shows. In order to get on the show, I was having to help sell tickets just to be able to get onto the card.
Yeah,
and I wasn't getting anything out of it. There's shows that all I got out of it was when the DVD came out, I got a copy of it. So anything I get is a blessing. I've seen nothing, and I've seen fairly decent pays, nothing big, but good enough that I was content with it. So paydays come and go. But I'm not one that's going to complain and whine like some people I know that they didn't get paid enough and they weren't the first one being paid at shows. I've seen guys in the back do that, and that really gets me agitated. You get paid when the boss gives you your money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, if you're some superstar for the group or the smallest guy on the totem pole. You get what you get when you get it.
Now, I know it was a UWA show, which was I think it stood for Unchained Wrestling Alliance or something like that. It was here in Alabama. I got to wrestle for the first time ever, Freak Show, and there was maybe 4 people in the audience. It was a big match for me. This was before I blew up, big. But I got to wrestle Freak Show, which was huge for me for the time. But we did it in front of 4 paying customers. But we put on a hellacious match for them, and I still enjoy it. But and I don't even think I took a payday for that. I think I just told the guy to keep his money, honestly. Because I know promoters spend.
I've seen some small crowds myself at shows that I've worked. So
promoters.
I know how that is.
Promoters have to spend so much money to run a show. Sometimes if it's local like that, it busts, which it did. I was always very good about not getting paid. Or there was a show in Sylacauga. I can't really remember what happened. I think there was an extra guy that showed up and wasn't supposed to, but we put him in a match. So I cut my own money or didn't take money. And I think I told him just pay me back later, made sure that guy got paid. I've always been really good about that with certain individuals. I have been. Kevin Brandon, owner of iwa-deep South, LXW, and $10 Wrestling, has always paid. There's never been a time that dude has not paid me in full or extra. So, shout out.
I totally agree with that statement there. He's always on the money, having what he's supposed to, and there's been times he gave a little bit more than what he said.
Yeah.
Especially if he likes the match and it went over even better than he was expecting it to.
Yeah, a lot of people shit on Kevin, and half the time they don't even have their information right, in general, to tell you the truth. But Kevin as a business boss is awesome to work for.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the other frustrations right now you're having to deal with, like, wrestling-wise, other than just, shows not running?
There's a lot of... I'd like to one day get in there with you on a show somewhere. Either a regular tag team match or a one-on-one match against you, because I respect you so much, Mr. Rare.
Thank you. Like, I swear, over the span of, my career, people have not really liked me, except for maybe like the last 3 years. I think I finally gained respect somehow over the last few years. I've always been one of the most, like, hated people. Everybody's always shit on me. Now, it don't come from the workers half the time, unless it's the, Northern brand. But, I've always had heat with a lot of people, and, especially, like, Northern fans and stuff like that. But over the last few years, it seems like people have finally just, like, they started to love me, or they just realized that I'm not going anywhere. One of the two.
Well, either way, I show the guys respect just because of them going out there and putting their butt on the line, whether it's a regular style match, death match, hardcore, whatever it is. If you are crazy enough to get out there and put your butt on the line, whether you're the best guy in there or not, and just want to go out there and work hard, I respect you for that, and that's just how I am. I respect the guys that get in the ring. I don't always respect the fans that are disrespectful and don't show respect, because unless they actually know what they're talking about. There's a lot of them that don't know what they're talking about, don't do the research, and just crap on everything just because they want to.
Yeah.
And those kind of fans I cannot respect.
Well, I've told stories many times about the fans, like when I debuted in Deep South, they just came up with their own stories about me and my past, which, one of them was, they said I came from the backyard, which was completely true. I never hid the fact that I did backyard wrestling. But they started, coming up with me and, Spider Boudreaux wrestled with me in the backyard, which was completely false. When I met him at Carnage Cup 7 was the first time I ever met Spider. But people just, started coming up with all these rumors on the internet. And, if it's said on the internet, it's true.
Or so they want you to believe.
Yeah.
I've heard all kinds of crazy rumors over the years about different people, and unless I actually hear it from that person specifically, that is actually truth, I take everything with a grain of salt. I don't totally believe something just because I hear somebody say it.
Yeah, we live in an age now with social media. Like, social media is God now to these people, because they rely on it for all their information. And, they don't check facts. They don't dig into anything. And, it's sad. Like, I gotta take breaks from Facebook and, social media before I just unhinge on people.
There's a few people that are like that, that they totally get mad about something and just want to talk trash and cause problems. And that makes you want to totally say, hey, I'm stepping back. I'm not dealing with this person, or don't want to be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever because of this for a while, so I can cool off so I don't have to deal with it. I totally sympathize and understand where you're coming from with that.
Now, the show after Lethal Leap Year was the Shit Apocalypse, and originally you were on that. You had that Raider Rock Challenge or whatever it was.
It was supposed to originally I was stuck without a ride going to the show.
Yeah, like there was a few people that wasn't able to make it to that show, but it was a hellacious show. It was like 100 degrees out there in the damn swamp, but whatever.
I heard it was like a real field temperature of 110 out there during that day for you guys. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could have been there, but when rides fall through, you're stuck.
Yeah. But you have any future plans with any organizations as of right now?
As of right now, I've got nothing officially booked. I've pitched a few ideas to Jake Manning for future $5 wrestling shows. I've had negotiations with trying to get a ride, because I only ride with other guys to shows. I don't personally ride myself, so I've got to rely on somebody else. And my mom doesn't drive in the dark, so I can't go to any shows with her driving. So I have to rely on other people, so I got to wait and see if anybody wants me there and I can get a ride to go to a show. Unfortunately, that's the way things are sometimes, but it is what it is, John.
Yeah. Trust me, it's definitely understandable. Like, we had Chewy on the show. He was coming from Texas, and I think his ride literally backed out on him the night before. So then he had to. It's hard to scramble a ride from Texas.
It's hard to scramble a ride from anywhere when it's not a local show.
Yeah.
And you're not local yourself. Imagine how hard it is from somebody in rural North Carolina to get to Alabama when they don't drive themselves. Same cup of tea, so to speak, there.
Yeah, like, most of our shows are in Alabama. We've recently moved to Georgia. And then, of course, Wayne County. Now, my next guest after you will be the infamous Mr. Krystal, Twisted Cane. How is your relationship with that gentleman?
I plead the fifth and refuse thing after on the ground so it'll incriminate me.
Oh, that means next subject, people.
It is one of those things where 1 minute we're getting along fine, other times we're not getting along, and personality conflicts, we don't always get along. I respect him. I respect what he's done in the ring, but we don't always get along.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And maybe one day we'll get to be on the same page for more than about 5 or 10 minutes, but if not, I'm cool with it. I'm cool either way. I try to get along with everybody that I can in the business. So that's just how I am. But a lot of people don't agree with that. A lot of people want to say I just want to stir up trouble. I don't get along with people. I'm not a people person. I'm not really one of the guys in the back. I'm just there. I've heard all kinds of stuff like that in the past, and I may keep to myself a lot, but at the same time, it's because I don't want to start trouble. And I'm just trying to focus on what I got to get done.
Yeah.
But it gets misconstrued, and stuff like that always happens.
Yeah, it's one of those, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation, trust me. Like, when I came into Deep South, I was the new kid. I was having to get in there with the vets, Freak Show, Spider Boudreaux, you had all these guys that have established themselves as the IWA brand, and, I'm the new kid, and I came in hot, obviously, with the stab, and then on my very next show, I was actually supposed to have wrestled Freak Show for the IWA Championship, but I broke my leg during the promo of all them things. I did a suicide dive, broke my leg, so I didn't get my title match with Freak Show. But I came in hot, and that kind of killed it right there. But very next show was Carnage Cup 8. Everybody knows what happened there. I beat Madman Pondo. lost to Spider Boudreaux in the Saw 2 match. And what would be, before I get off here with you, what would be your advice for, the younger generation of wrestlers now, trying to get into business or just starting in it?
You're breaking up in and out there, John.
Oh, sorry. What would be your advice for the younger generation of wrestlers now just getting in the business?
If you're going to get in, go to a good school with somebody that's respected, well-known. If you're in the Carolinas, something like AML School or George South. If you're like in Tennessee, I hear Ricky Morton's got a good school. South Carolina, I hear Tom and Rich has got a school. Go to a school where it's somebody that's well-known, respected, and has a lot of knowledge. Do not just go to some nickel and dime guy at the local show that nobody's really ever heard of for your training, because a lot of them will take advantage of you and just take your money. You need to go to somebody that's going to help you get on the map, even with a small group, or if they can help get you on bigger groups later on. You got to go with somebody that's established to train you.
See, I can agree with that because, in my younger career, I bounced around at the little places that, really didn't have a reputation of having names there. They were just, the homebred town guys, really. And, yeah, you can't get out there that way. And, most of the time they do want money more than they're worried about your training.
Yeah, and you want to go with somebody there because a lot of people, especially guys in the back, when they don't know who you are, they'll question, okay, who'd you train with? Where'd you go? And it's never a real good answer to give a hodgepodge training, a little bit here, a little bit there that I picked up, self-taught. They want a well-established school as an answer to get their respect.
Yeah.
I made the mistake. I've had a hodgepodge training, a little here, a little there. Nothing really sticking much of anything, but picking up stuff from different people, and it hasn't got me a lot of respect. And I don't want everybody else to make those same mistakes that I did.
Well, Raider, I've definitely enjoyed this interview with you. Do you have any final words?
Hopefully, I'll be back in Alabama working for Kevin Brandon again in the future. Hopefully, $5 and all the other groups that I've worked in the past will start running shows again, and they'll book me. But if I never wrestle another day in my life, I want everybody to know that I'm thankful for all that I've done, and I'm content with what I've done. And I appreciate every fan that's ever been there behind me. Thank you.
It's good words from Raider Rock there. Ladies and gentlemen, up next, Mr. Krystal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Rare back again. Now we have the famous Mr. Krystal. How you doing, sir?
What's up, John?
I heard you had a lot to discuss with me tonight.
Oh, hell yeah, 20.
Like, I heard there's another show they don't want to put you on for some reason, but Rare is here.
Hey, man, there's plenty of them that want me on their shows. They can kiss my ass.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's go ahead and just start with, well, where do you want to start? Hell, you're the guest. What do you want us to talk about?
I want to talk about that pussy-ass hardcore hillbilly #1.
Oh, the hardcore hillbilly from Shit Apocalypse.
He got what? It was hot. It was hot that day. I wasn't used to the Alabama weather, of course. Well, that ain't that undisclosed location. We could say the state, but we can't say what it was. But, yeah, it was crazy, man. It was like, when the video got aired, they only showed the end of it. They didn't show the whole fight, the whole flat fight. And when I got knocked down, you kind of jumped in and tried to catch me before I hit the mat.
Yeah, I tried to stop you so you didn't hit your head on the rope.
Well, he didn't really knock me out. He just dazed me. Like, I was still aware of where I was. That was like, I looked at you and I was like, I'm good, dude. I was like, I'm good. I just figured I had another match and I didn't want to keep going,
Yeah.
It was like, I was already, the Twisted Cane gimmick was kind of my main focus. And I was like, Kevin wants me to debut it, I'm going to debut it for him. And, at first he wanted me to just do a flat fight, and I was like, dude, I want a death match. I was like, I'm having that urge to do another one. And even though it was only like not even 10 minutes long, I mean, I had a good time. And Aftershock, he didn't hardly want to do nothing, and I was like, cause he ain't a deathmatch guy. He's just like a regular wrestling guy or whatever. He'll do hardcore, but he don't like to like it.
Yeah. Like,
I was like, man, I'll take all the fun. He's like, hey, I'll do that. I said, all right.
and I've worked people like that before, that they didn't really want to do the death match, but they've done hardcore, so obviously, I took the bumps, because me, I'm going to take bumps.
Yeah. I know, man, you take some crazy shit. Shit that I would do.
So with Hardcore Hillbilly, is the hype behind him real, or is he just a flash in the pan?
Hey, man, I know it's K-Babe and all, but I don't get to give a fuck about that on his show.
Nope.
But, he called me about a week ago. We sat on the phone from like 7 in the morning till like 9, just talking about that show, because that was his first official show ever. And like, he's been training for a while. He told me he trained with Robert Gibson, which I believe him. And which I have mad respect for Gary too, because Gary stopped the match. And some workers won't do that. Some workers are assholes. They'll make you bleed to fucking death before they stop the match. And what you did to him up in the tree line, man, that was crazy as fuck. I've never seen that shit before.
Yeah,
I was like, the whole damn staple gun and shit. I was like, wow.
Well, see, like, I did not know. Now, this is being for real. I did not know that staple gun had like the industrial staples in it. I thought it was just a normal staple gun.
I heard it hit his skull twice, and he felt it. You could see it in his face. He felt it, and he had balls, man. I would like to have a death match with him. Like, really, I think we'd have a good match. He talking about wanting to have one with me, and I said, well, Carnage Cup is coming up. I said, maybe Kevin can arrange that, or John can have that arranged, and we can kill it. I said, me and you, if he don't play it again, he'll be alright.
Yeah, and like, he said it. He said it on the Death Hour, and my back story with Shit Apocalypse. I told him how to blade, and he did it. He didn't do it right.
Yeah, he told me you told him what to do, and then I said, yeah, John could have yelled at you, but he ain't gonna do that. I said, you're green, and he understands that, and he thought you was gonna yell at him. And I said, John ain't gonna yell at you, dude. I said, you ain't gotta worry about that shit. I said, John will talk to you about it, because I heard you telling him, I told you what to do when he come back there. He was like, I told you what to do, and you left it at that.
I told him two things in the back. I told him, he had to sell, because that was the number one thing he didn't do. He didn't sell the match. Yeah. And then I told him, you didn't blade right.
Yeah. I try not to blade. If I'm going to blade, I'm going to get busted open with something. Like get cut with something, or like make it look like legit real,
A lot of the time in the past, that's what I did. I would just try to, for real bleed, get cut open that way. But in my last two matches, I have bladed, and I've got way better color in the last two matches with blading the way I have.
Yeah, your matches are good, man. I gotta give you that. I think Kevin talked you out of retirement. Like, talked you out of retiring.
Well,
And,
well, you know,
yeah,
like I mentioned, I'm still glad I came out of retirement so I could knock a few names off my list. But you know, I was content with being retired at the time. I really was.
and I told Kevin yesterday I wanted in the Carnage Cup. I said I want a spot. I don't care who I work. I'm willing to take the L. I don't care. You know, I just want in.
Yeah. Oh,
And if I can get in that, I don't care if I lose or not. That'll put my name on the map anyway.
yeah. I mean, because you know, Carnage Cup may be one of the most hated shows according to the fans and you know other workers, but people buy the damn DVD. People come to see it, and
Yeah.
you know a lot of people hated the Angel of Death tournament. But when you talk to Kevin about the DVD sales are fucking awesome. So pump your money into what you hate. I don't care.
I think this new DVD is gonna sell the most.
Dude, like the shit apocalypse, you know, I put that behind the scenes on my channel and it's done great. Like the views on it.
I've watched it 2 or 3 times. I get into it every time I watch it. It's
Like,
like almost an hour long, and
it's
I can just sit there and watch the whole thing.
like it's a good behind the story about shit apocalypse, but then it also just shows some funny shit with us just in the back too.
Oh, you want to hear a funny story? We're coming to Alabama. You know I love the Jeff.
Yeah.
And me and Jeff and Aftershock go together. And Jeff's daughter wants to Domino's. She got us all pizza. He paid for it, so we said, hell yeah. Rob got him, Aftershock got him a pineapple in like 5 seconds. We got to Alabama at like 2 in the morning. And like he said, man, I'll be back. He went to Washington and he got missing for like 30 minutes. He come back. This motherfucker done shit on himself. He done shit in his fucking pants, dude. Like, I said, dude, you're going to the shit apocalypse. You literally shit in your pants.
Now that was Jeff Hart or Krystal. I mean,
No, it was Aftershock.
Aftershock. Like
Yeah.
it cut out right there during your story. I heard the story, but it cut out. I just didn't hear the name there. So
He shit his pants. I done got permission from him to tell the story on his. He said, tell John to follow my YouTube channel. I said, I'll tell him. It's Robert Presley. I guess that's the name of it. But he watches a lot of your stuff, too. And he said, and James wants to have a super match with Rob.
yeah. Oh, Robert versus Big James sumo match. That could be at the shit apocalypse too. I mean.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do the same show every year. Like next time we do it, we're gonna do it when it ain't so damn hot.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the backyard show. I thought it was something unique and different.
It took me back, so that's why I started in the yard. And I was like, man, I feel like I'm at home. I said, I feel like I'm back where I started. And with the light tubes, and that was my first death match in like since 2010. So it's been about 10 years since I had one.
Yeah.
And the last one I had was a no rope. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, but I actually come out and I actually was the winner. It was a tag team match, ended up being elimination style. And it came down to me and another guy, which is a guy that I used to manage in $5 wrestling. And it come down to me and him, and we tore the damn house down. I supposed to hang him in the barbed wire. Remember I think it was Cactus Jack, and it was Terry Funk, whenever he hung him in the barbed wire.
Yeah.
It was like he got hung like from the outside. That's what we were gonna do, but there's so many kids there. I didn't want to freak the kids out, and make them want to leave. So
You know,
it was like we was open and match on the card. It was a no rope barbed wire death match.
like at one point, me and Spider Boudreaux was supposed to have done like a barbed wire massacre match, just like Sabu and Terry did. But for some reason, that show never happened. And that was actually one match I wish we would have done. because we were gonna go out there and try to tear it up and make the Terry Sabu match look weak, but we just didn't get the chance to do it.
I mean, the Sabu Abyss match was a good one too.
It was good.
It was, yeah.
They
never let Sabu do what he wanted to do in TNA. Like, they did the barbed wire stuff, but Sabu was so much more technical than they made him look. And, like, ECW that was my favorite Sabu. Like,
Yeah,
WWE didn't let him do shit. Like, WWE just used him as a jobber. And they didn't really do nothing with him.
Yeah, WWE has had it's always been that way. They've had a reputation of ruining other people's characters. If it wasn't WCW, it was ECW or TNA. Their people come into WWE. They don't look as good. They don't produce as good. And WWE will hold people down like that.
Yeah, I got a friend. He wrestles in WWE, the WWE Universal Champion. No shit. I went to school with Don Strowman. And throughout school, he didn't never talk about wanting to be in the pro wrestling. He was a football player.
Yeah.
And how he got discovered was Mark Henry went to a weightlifting competition, and that's how he got discovered. They took him in there and made him do some bumps and made him into a monster. And I think he's finally going to come back with the monster gimmick again because he's facing Bray Wyatt. And Bray brought back the Fiend after he went back to the I call him the inbred hillbilly version of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
the one that was the Bray Wyatt from the swamp.
Now, like local wise, right now, what is the Federation's doing around your area? That's
I work with Appalachian Championship Wrestling out of Vail, and I used to work at Titan, but they kissed my ass. And because the owner he called my mom a bitch on the phone, dude. And I went ape shit on his ass. I was like, you can call me a bitch all you want, don't ever bring my mother into this situation. It was kind of one of them promoter-worker situations. He brought in Ricky Morton, and he followed Ricky around like a lost puppy. Like, he was marking out to him the whole time. He basically could smell his shit. That's how close he was following Ricky around.
Yeah.
But not just during the show, but like the whole day. He followed Ricky Morton around. I mean, I've worked 50 shows with Ricky, and Ricky's a cool motherfucker, dude. And don't try to kiss his ass. Just chill, man. Chill out.
How many of the shows that you worked on did he ask for weed?
Did he ask for what?
Weed.
Oh, Ricky, he's never asked me for any weed, but he talks about Robert Gibson's dick being big and shit.
See, I've only really talked to him on one show, but like one of the very first things out of his mouth was, "Hey, who can hook us up with some good weed?"
Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary Morton, his son, is a Jeff Hart mark. And every time Ricky sees Jeff, he has to make him cut a promo on Joey Janela.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, every time we see Ricky at a show, which I'm always with Jeff at a show with Ricky there, and Jeff's supposed to be going and wrestling for School of Morton. But I don't know when. He said he was going to be on there, but he hasn't told me when.
Well,
he's actually coming down this weekend and going to go work a show with me Sunday. And he comes all the way down from Tennessee, man. But he don't charge nothing if he's in this area because his mom lives in the area, and he can just stay at her house when he's in town. And Jeff's cool as fuck, dude. People might think Jeff's an asshole. He ain't no asshole. He's cool as shit.
Well, I know if Jeff keeps calling me John Ware instead of John Rare, I'm going to kick his ass personally.
Jeff, if you don't know Jeff, you can't understand what he's saying. But if you've known Jeff as long as I have, I've known Jeff basically my whole wrestling career. And Jeff's been in this shit over 30 years, no shit.
Yeah.
Jeff's been doing this shit since he was 17. And when he took on Joey Janela kicked his fucking ass. I don't know if you watched that match or not.
I haven't watched it, actually.
Dude, you gotta watch that match. That gave Jeff the biggest damn... Jeff, I like Jeff. Jeff's my boy. But that gave Jeff an ego. So he got to wrestle Joey Janela. And Joey took him to his limit. They used the table in the match. The match was, there wasn't any rules. So the first part of the match was like basically them two wrestled each other. Then the second part of the match, they got out the weapon. Like they gave the fans a little of both. And Andy from Alabama came down. Bunch of Andy's buddies came down. Kevin was supposed to be there, but he wasn't there. Something happened that Kevin couldn't make it. So Boris Dookie was supposed to be on that show. He didn't get to make it down. And we've had Gene wrestle with us. He wrestled Freight Train. Memphis Monroe.
Yeah, Memphis Monroe is great talent. I've never actually got to get in the ring and work with him ever, actually, but Joey, you know. Joey, I always heard Joey wasn't ever trained, but for Joey not to be trained, he can fucking work. And see, he made Jeff look good. I really don't keep up with wrestling as much as I used to. But like whenever I didn't think I even heard of Joey Janela until he had that show like Joey Janela Spring Break. And that's when and then I was like, who's this guy? And it's funny because at that time he was already around for a while. I just didn't know him.
He wrestled Van Dig, did you know that?
He wrestled who?
Him and Van Dig.
See, I didn't.
He got the famous spot where he comes off the roof.
Okay, yes.
That's Joey Janela that Van Dig is throwing off the roof.
That's the first time I seen him. Because I do remember that. I do remember that.
That made him famous. I don't care what anybody fucking says, that spot made Joey Janela who he is, and that's what got him where he is.
And see, the bad thing about that is I remember that spot now that you mentioned it, but the bad thing is all I remember was Zandig doing the spot again. I forgot that it was Joey that took the damn shit.
Yeah, Joey was the one that took it. But Zandig held him all the way down. It wasn't like you let him go or nothing.
Yeah.
Like Zandig, man, he's retired now, but he was one of I looked up to him coming up when I first started out. I kind of watched CZW a lot. And back then they had Necro Butcher, they had Brain Damage, they had, I think Spider was there too back then. And they had John Moxley too. John Moxley's always been my boy. Even when he was Dean Ambrose, I was still a John Moxley fan.
Now see,
anybody that can take a Salazar to the head, has got the power.
I've always said this, and usually I get heat from it because he was a deathmatch worker. I've never liked Moxley, ever.
Really?
Even, I loved The Shield, but I did not like Dean Ambrose.
Oh yeah, Dean Ambrose was a WWE thing, you know that.
Yeah.
He probably didn't even want to do that shit.
Like,
all they did was take his name away and put him in a vest and blue jeans and a white beater.
And honestly, I think that's another reason I didn't like him. And I know it's partial, whatever, but when you're in the big leagues, I just can't stand people wearing street clothes.
Yeah.
Like, in NXT, he wore tights.
Yeah.
But then
I remember. He wore Trump.
yeah. But then,
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with the gear like the Shield had, the black gear. I didn't have a problem with that. But when he started just wearing the wife beater and jeans, I personally didn't like that.
Yeah, I did. If you're like in like death match, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're in like WWE, I think you need to have professional gear, and because he did have professional gear when he was in NXT, right before the Shield even came out. Because him and Seth Rollins, which is Tyler Black in real life, and Roman Reigns, they all had singles guns back then.
Yeah. And I guess honestly, I guess the one exception is like John Cena, because he wore the jeans. I actually did not have a problem with him doing it because he came from that rap gimmick, and it just transitioned. Yeah, it transitioned into it. I didn't like the street clothes, and I still don't. When I see wrestlers doing normal matches in street clothes, I really don't like it. I know, in my death matches, I usually wear random.
You don't want to mess your good gear up. Like me, I got good gear. If I'm doing like a death match, I'll wear something raggedy that I don't care to get tore up. But like Cody McCall, he's got nice gear, but he never wears it in death matches because he don't want to get that shit tore up. That shit's expensive, dude.
Yeah. And when Cody gets in there with me, I tear his ass up.
Oh, y'all had a good match, man. Y'all had the best match, I believe. You had a better match with him than you had with Peter Be Beautiful. And your match with Peter was good too. I mean, I ain't gonna doubt that. But that fan spot you did was awesome.
I did like the match with Peter, but like I said, on that match, I was half blinded because of all the damn blood. And
you saw the bleed at the beginning of the match.
Yeah,
the match started.
I was gashed immediately. But I could not, I was half-ass blinded, and to me that really made my match shittier than what it was. I have not got to watch that match yet. I haven't even ordered that DVD.
You took a lot of spots, you couldn't see good. You took a lot of bumps. Because you took one bump on that fan with the scissors, and I know you couldn't see shit then.
Yeah, the only thing that did is it gave me a gash in my knee. I still got the scar from that, but not too bad.
Yeah. I know Peter had a match with Corporal Robinson and Cup Time.
Yes.
They used a weed whacker. He tore Chuck up with that weed whacker.
That's one of the few things that I won't do. I will not do a damn weed whacker.
Me neither. I will not. Hell no. That's like taking a damn lawnmower and putting your hand in there.
Yeah, I won't do it. I respect the people that will do it. People say that I'm reckless and blah, 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 but I will not do a, weed whacker. Just I'm not doing it.
You know that how Peter got famous, right? Ian Rotten. I think Ian shot on him, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
In their match, he shot on him. And Peter was young. Peter was young, man. He was young in the business. But he just started. And Ian took it to the extreme on that one. So Peter got famous off of that shit. I never knew that was him until I heard him. I think it was he was on the Death Hour, and he was talking about it. And he said that he fucked up a spot with Ian. And Ian kind of got mad. I said, yeah, that happened.
Well, see, I can't stand people when they shoot on other workers like that. I really can't. Because, I know you got green guys and you got your veterans and stuff like that. But, we're a brotherhood out there. I don't believe on shooting on your opponent.
Nah, I've been shot on quite a few times. Mike Levy did it a couple times. And this was when I was young, man. I started out when I was like 20. And Levy done been in it for like 5, 6 years before that, like before I started. And he's actually one of, you remember Levy?
Yeah.
He's actually one of the guys that helped get me into the business. Like, he basically took me under his wing and trained me up. We didn't even have a ring. I bumped on the ground, dude.
Hey.
On hard fucking rock and ground.
The first time I started training a guy named White Lightning, we did not have access to a ring. We went to a local park and put some thin cushions down on the ground and just started taking bumps in the park.
Hell, we didn't even have cushions. We just did it on the ground. Hell, one time it was snowing and we wanted to wrestle. And we had people over there, like our friends was over there to watch. So we already had people, so we was like, fuck it, we're gonna go out here in the snow and have a match. And me and this guy, it started pouring down rain. And me and this guy, we was like, man, there's nobody else who wants to wrestle, we'll go out here and do it. And he wants to actually come to Deep South, and I told him, I said, man, I have to talk to Kevin, dude. He don't just let, he's been doing these undisclosed shows where he only invited people on, and that's kind of why I told him I had to talk to Kevin first. But his dude's a good deathmatch. He don't give a shit.
Like right now in the Deep South, I think we're still waiting. We're waiting on that, that new young buck to take over, or just anybody to, take over and basically take my spot.
Yeah, I think Cody will be a good representative to do that.
I do. I like Cody. Me and his match I thought went very fucking well.
I've tried to get on a couple of his shows, man, and every time I try to talk to him, he's already booked up. And, I mean, he's only done one. I think he's done 2 already. He's having another one in October.
Yes.
And it's him and Jerry, ain't it?
Huh?
Him and Jerry. I think it's him and Jerry that do it together at the Landmark Arena.
I'm not sure, like Booker wise or who runs it, but I do know that Cody, has a hand in it, but I don't know, who the representatives are.
Cody's one of the bookers, anyway. And I mean, I messaged him, and I mean, he had that show back in I forgot it was the horror something, the tournament he had.
Yeah.
And they didn't get to use any white tees, which I thought was crazy. At the Landmark Arena, I don't think they let you use white tees. But they have pretty good matches, not have white tees. But you don't gotta have white tees to have a good, decent hardcore match.
No, like
that's how I started out, man. I started out hardcore wrestling.
If I'm correct, me and Spider, our original Saw match, it didn't have no light tubes in it, and that's one of the infamous matches of all time.
Was that the first one where you cut him?
Yeah, I stabbed him.
That shit was crazy. I said Spider had balls, and I know John didn't want to do it, but Spider was wanting to do it.
Well,
and John was like, okay, cool.
I mean, I really didn't second guess him. He was just like, stab me, and I was just like, full on stab? Yep. I'm like, all right.
He worked the Milestone show years ago.
Yes.
And in Charlotte, and I used to work the Milestone, and this was after I left. And I think he wrestled Colt 45.
Yes, he did.
And they fucking tore it down, dude. And they also had, I think Corporal was on that show because he had a drunken death match where you had to drink a shot, and each person had to drink a shot, and then you wrestle, and then about 5 minutes go by, and then they call a timer, and then you have to drink another shot, and whoever passes out first loses.
Talking about a drunken, I'm challenging Big James Mayhem to a drunken match.
That would be crazy. I bet James could put him down.
Well, you know what? He can drink, but he can't keep up with me. I may be small, but I can outdrink a lot of people.
Hey man, we did that thing with Kevin after the show.
Yeah.
So we went to that apartment. It was so crazy over there. I played 8 kids. The suit smelled like Little Donnie.
Oh, Lord.
It smelled just like him after a wrestling match.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
No.
Sorry, Little
I'll tell
Donnie.
you this now. Little Donnie beat my ass in that shooting style baby tournament. Dude, I was just a replacement because somebody didn't show up.
Yep.
I wasn't even planning on getting to work a match. I just went with them to hang out.
So who do you think's more legitimate when it comes to shoot style baby? Is it Little Donnie or is it the Black Sheep Cody McCauley?
Little Donnie is. If them two went at it, I think Little Donnie would beat him.
Because, you know, those are the two that start, you know, when it was on the MDK club, those were the two that were going at it when Kevin was going fucking nuts.
Phil Macchio would be a good one, too.
Yeah, I love Phil.
Because he legitimately knows karate and shit. He could knock your ass out in a heartbeat.
Well, Mr. Krystal.
Do what now?
I said, Mr. Krystal, do you have any final words before we get off?
Yes, I won't in that Carnage Cup.
Are you listening, Kevin?
Yes, Kevin, I won't in that Carnage Cup. I don't care who I fight. Put me in there with the hardcore hillbilly. I'll wear his head out. He thinks he got bloody last time. He ain't seen shit.
Mr. Krystal has basically said that the hardcore hillbilly is a bitch.
He is a bitch. And I hope he listens to this and Kevin makes it happen.
Big James Mayhem? Big James Mayhem? He's a bitch.
Oh, I ain't got a problem with Big James. He'll slap the fuck out of him. He beat the shit out of Red Solo Cup.
If it wasn't for those damn rules and regulations, Big James would have won.
I think Kevin changed the rules.
No, I changed the rules. I said no more damn ear penalties.
Yeah, that's not fair to James because his hands are the size of the fucking goddamn basketball.
Yeah, his hands are the size of fucking Solo's head.
Yes, Solo was fucked up for like 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, he's been fucked up for 20 years. I mean,
is his thing finally healed up?
Probably.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you having me on, dude.
Well, as soon as it's up, of course, I will tag you on Facebook. For the fans out there, if you haven't already, come subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button, and of course, hit the bell if you want to get notifications anytime I upload videos. Thank you, Mr. Krystal, for joining us. This is John Rare.